particular big sporting events have you covered since you've been at NBCWW? And then I just wonder any lessons learned from covering different events, whether it's a World Series, whether it's a Super Bowl. Like, talk a little bit about some things you covered and maybe some lessons learned, whether it be professional or more so kind of on the lines of books, which is mental, kind of mental enhancement.
I would tell you going back to the 2006 NBA Finals between the Miami Heat and Dallas Mavericks. The Mavs won the first. First off, the Mavs won the regular season series, so they beat them 2-0. And then when they played the finals, the first two games were in Dallas, and the Mavs won those, and they were up, killing them in Game 3, 13-point lead, 6 minutes to go. And
Mhm.
watching Pat Riley turn that whole series around, it was a timeout, and he just held up the clipboard and he wrote on their season, showed it to the team. Dwayne Wade goes to the hole, and they won four straight basketball games. And to see the anguish with the Mavericks, and at the same time, too, to see what Pat Riley was able to do. Pat Riley really helped change my life around in 1988 when he wrote his book, Showtime Inside the Lakers Breakthrough Season. And having read that about what it takes to achieve things in life, and chapter 13 motivation in that book is amazing. And I had twice, once in Charlotte, I had went to the bus afterwards and gave Pat a note and just said thank you very much. I got a college scholarship based off your book. It really made me focus and work for my dreams. And then after the finals, when they won it in '06, I went by and just dropped him another and said, you don't remember me, but many years ago in Charlotte, I thanked you, and I want to thank you again because I continue to live this dream that I have, based on your book, Showtime Inside the Lakers Breakthrough Season, especially Chapter 13, Motivation. But to see Dirk and the Mavericks lose, and how many people thought, okay, it was kind of a fluke you got there, and then the next year, people forget they had the best record in the NBA. And
Mm-hmm.
Dirk was the MVP of the league, and they got put out by the Golden State Warriors
Yep.
and in seven straight games. And to see how people kind of wrote Dirk off, he's soft, he's European. Some of it
Yep.
was just even racist in terms of how they
Yep.
went Dirk, and then to see them in 2011 go back and get it done. That never underestimate the resolve of what redemption can do for people. I'd picked the Mavs to win it in six because I just felt like, hey man, these guys would come back here, and then he's not going to let them lose, and he didn't. He
Mm-hmm.
wanted it more, willed his team more, and that's when I go back to talking about loving biographies of people who failed. That sometimes that's what it takes, is to fall down before you can really get to where you need to get to. It's a part of it, and that's what so many times, so many people who've reached these successes in sports have done. They've had to fall down a little bit to get up there, and now we think of Dirk as, oh, he's this legend, the
Mm-hmm.
best, possibly the best European player of all time, the best big shooting man. I mean, I was here when people, when they were not feeling like that about Dirk Nowitzki.
Yep.
Um, and so that was one of the great things about covering and being there for those two runs. Because I
Mm-hmm.
remember Magic Johnson saying to the Cowboys in training camp, it might have been in '08 or '09, that the Mavs windows closed. And he was telling the Cowboys,
Wow.
your window's open right now. The Mavericks window is closed. And Magic was incorrect. They were not, they were not done. They did have more left in them, and so that was cool. But to go to my time just being here in Dallas Fort Worth, I've covered the Stanley Cup Finals twice with the Stars. Unfortunately, they didn't win either one. They lost both.
Okay.
The Rangers went to the World Series twice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they lost both.
That one hurt. Oh, that hurt. That one still hurt. That's
I was
out of
there.
St. Louis.
I was
Was
there.
that St. Louis or was it San Francisco?
It was St. Louis. St. Louis. They lost
Okay.
to San Francisco in five games, and those that one really wasn't close at all because San Francisco just had so much better pitching with Tim Lincecum and Matt Cain, and um, their fourth star. People forget the fourth starter for San Francisco in that series was Madison Bumgarner. So
Yeah, it
deep down,
was. I remember that.
yeah, Jonathan
Mm-hmm.
Sanchez was the number three pitcher, and that's the one they
Yep.
beat. But it
Yep.
was just too much for them to overcome. So the Final Four has been here. That was great. To see them bring the World Series back during the pandemic, that was pretty cool. The NBA All Star Game when they held it over at Jerry World, the NHL All Star Game that was here. I've been fortunate in this town to see a lot of cool things. Even the Super Bowl, the Aaron Rodgers and the Packers won over the Pittsburgh Steelers, Super Bowl 45. So it's been a ride. To see a lot of things here. Got to go to the Rose Bowl with TCU and they won that. That was pretty cool. because I'd covered TCU when for the time they were in the WAC to go to Conference USA, to make it to the Mountain West, and then as Mountain West champions, undefeated, to make it out to the Rose Bowl to beat a Wisconsin team that was pretty good. You had J.J. Watt on that team there, so that was kind of fun. That was kind of fun to see.
Yeah, that was a big win. Wisconsin had a big offensive line that year, like they always do. But I remember that Rose Bowl because you didn't know how TCU would do, but they played with a lot of heart. Let me ask you this: when you look at, for instance, you've covered most of major sports are there, but the Dallas Cowboys, that's the big glamorous America's team.
Sure.
How that marketing machine? What I mean by that, Nui, is I'm an outsider. You're an insider. How is that thing as far as brand? What's the scope of it? Let me ask you like that. What's the scope of a brand like the Dallas Cowboys?
So, in my time of covering sports, every city has the team. The team that they live and they die for. When I interned in St. Louis, it was the Cardinals. There was nothing bigger than Cardinal baseball. In Cleveland, it was the Browns. It was the Browns, and in Los Angeles, the Lakers. And when I worked in Austin, the Cowboys trained down there, and here in this town, it's the Cowboys. So think about, and I'm a big history person. I love history, and I think understanding history always helps people have a better understanding of how and the way things are. So the first professional major sports team in town was the Dallas Cowboys here. The Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Texans. So both established in the 1960s. And so Lamar Hunt's Dallas Texans ended up moving to Kansas City to become the Chiefs. And so here's the Dallas Cowboys, 1960. So the next professional sports team that comes here is 1972. That's the